Hi there, I'm Nina Simmons Mackey,
And I'm Linda Worrell.
and we're here in Auckland, New Zealand, and we've been talking about aphasia, and we've thought about our past 50 years in this field and whether on a global scale we're really making a difference. And so that's what we wanted to talk to you about today.
We've noticed a lot of changes in the 50 years, but we're wondering whether there's been any change in the outcomes of people with aphasia more generally. So we've used Donna Bedian's model of structure, process and outcomes to frame this question, and this is a well-used conceptual model of how to measure quality in healthcare, and we're trying to apply it to aphasia care.
So, relative to the structures of aphasia care, we feel that there are a lot more speech-language pathologists in the world who are providing aphasia services. We feel like the knowledge of aphasia has increased significantly in the past 50 years, and SLPs really have a broader understanding of the needs of people with aphasia. There's a lot of research now on what treatments are effective, and particularly for what types of issues in aphasia, and we feel like there is more availability of different types of treatments and settings. For example, aphasia centers.
Yeah. So there has been changes, significant changes, we think, in the structures that fuel, if you like, aphasia services around the world. The next sort of concept is processes, and what this means is, what are the transactions that happen to effect change in the outcomes of our patients or our people with aphasia. So certainly we've seen a change in competition with dysphagia on the wards, particularly in those early stages. That wasn't around 50 years ago, and that sort of change to the speech therapist's time has certainly changed. We want certainly there's been a change to the how people with aphasia and their family members can support each other, and the importance of that within groups and support organisations. We think that in some countries there has been a decrease in the amount of services provided by the public sector, particularly, that sort of emphasis on increase in productivity, so that whereas 50 years ago we probably saw, particularly in the US, a lot more time given to people with aphasia, that the financial constraints has probably sort of pulled that back a bit. Technology has helped a lot. Nowadays, people with aphasia and their family members have access to a wide range of therapy apps and sort of accessible communication systems that allow them to participate in that sort of technology and communication sort of space. And that includes telerehabilitation, and the pandemic certainly sort of increased the use of telerehabilitation. We think that the advent of the ICF in around 1980 has expanded the focus of what we do in therapy, so that there's not just the attention to the language impairment, fixing the language impairment, but it's also about attending to that person's communication in their everyday life and how they can participate in their life roles. So, but in terms of outcomes, we're still wondering. We sort of know that the outcomes of specific people, we can measure that. We know that some treatments provide better outcomes than others, but on a more global population level, we don't know whether we're making a difference at all. So we don't know whether all this effort that we're putting in is actually making a difference in the end. So there are lots of different ways in which the literature suggests we can measure outcomes on a population level. And we'd be really interested in your thoughts on how you could measure whether we're making a difference for people with aphasia and their families across the world.
Yeah, so we're really looking for a practical, feasible way at a population level to answer the question that we've been talking about, and that is, are we making a difference for people with aphasia on a broad scale?
Yeah. Okay. We're looking forward to your responses.